What are you resisting? This is the core question of your daily shadow work that I really recommend to integrate into your psychospiritual practices. I do it every day with my journaling practice, checking in with my body, with my psyche, emotional states. What are my thoughts? What I'm focusing on in my thoughts? And also my spiritual alignment. Am I connected and am I aligned with my faith? My faith that the universe is uh, supporting me when I follow my heart desires. And let me break it down for you a little bit more so we can go deeper and spiral down. Where does this resistance reside, right? Because it's easy to speak about it in the general, on the general level, and everybody these days more and less understands, at least people who did a little bit of inner work, a little bit of personal development. We understand, yes, that's real, that is what is happening. But how do we actually work with this energy? How do we release this resistance? How do we spot it every day? And how do we release it out of our body? Right? That's the question to ask and explore. I remember times in my life when I was so angry at people who would point out that I'm in resistance. I have this rebellious nature. I'm like really free spirits. Like, how dare they to tell me that I am in the resistance? I do whatever I want. So I remember a few situations when somebody mentioned that they perceive resistance in me when I talk to them, and I was mad at them. I was irritated. I was like, why, like, you're crossing my boundaries. Why are you telling me this, right? However, when I've done more work on myself, when I went really deep with my own shadow work, I realized, well, I do hold a lot of resistance. And even my response to somebody's like innocent comment, right? Obviously, those people wanted to help. Whether they could or not, it's a different question. But the intention was to help, to give me some information. And instead of just absorbing the information and saying, okay, thank you for sharing, like, I appreciate your uh, observation, I'll think about it, I'll look at it, I got angry and I stopped talking to them. Well, I don't say that you can go and tell anybody or your friends out of blue that they have resistance, because usually these days I only say that if a person gives me permission to say that, right? Like when I work with clients, when we have certain relationship where we grow together and we have an agreement to share this information with each other. When we see something, when we notice certain blind spot in another person's energy or behavior or the way they show up, right? Or maybe they're stuck with something. So I only do it when I have a permission from the person, and if we have agreement to do that with each other. But in this video, I would like to take you, and it's up to you to decide where are you at on your journey. It's up to you to be radically honest with yourself and admit that you have certain level of resistance. We all have certain level of resistance here and there, but it's when you constantly clear your inner space and you constantly ask this question every single day, this is how you can create a change. This is how you keep your space clear, sacred, and aligned. Your inner space, right? Your body, your soul, and your emotional body. There is no shortage of information out there about personal development, about spirituality, spiritual practices. healing. You can go on YouTube or any other social media platform and receive tons of wisdom, tons of quotes, programs, everything that teach you the same kind of thing. When we go deep, it's the same kind of thing. So there is nothing new in this information. It just how we actually apply this, what kind of work we do every single day, and it is work every single day to bring ourselves to the place where we don't resist our growth, we don't resist our own desires, we don't resist receiving what we deeply desire, giving yourself permission. And while politics and social reform is not my cross to carry, though I do have social political sciences master degree, this is not something that I'm committed to do in this lifetime. But I'm committed to work with women who might become those change makers in the world in one way or another. And I'm committed to help women with their personal journeys and building the community of women that want to grow and want to be radically honest and show up for themselves on a daily basis, and show up in relationship with other women who want to grow on a daily basis. So we make this the priority. So if you're watching this video, you're probably in my community and you probably follow my work and what I offer, what I share, and you probably benefit from it. Or if you're new, that is an opportunity to get to know me and my work a little bit more. And I'll be happy to receive any feedback, any questions that you have. So I want to focus on the community of women, on the bigger community of women that I hold space for. And what I see in this community, what is going on, right, with us women. We're in a big transition collectively, but let's look at our personal experience, because what is personal is universal. I can see 3 big areas where women still struggling and still experiencing those cycles of repetitive situations, repetitive like patterns, relationships, emotional states, right? Certain emotional storms that going up and down, and literally going through the same cycle over and over again, and feeling stuck. Like maybe something little changes, a little bit of growth. We can experience a little bit of growth, but nothing major, right? Nothing transformational, nothing like quantum leap, right? And this is what I want to talk to you about today. So the first area is intimacy and relationships. This is something that many women in my community, and I'm an intimacy and relationship expert, I can see there are lots of secret, hidden struggles and pain behind the scenes. Some women are openly admitting that that's something that they're working on, and they're focusing on healing themselves, healing their feminine, transforming their relationship patterns, finding what they really desire, want to create, right? And they work on themselves. And some women, we can see lots of perfect pictures on Facebook with, it looks like perfect relationship, beautiful photo shoot. But when, we go deeper with that, there is lots of pain and lots of struggle, lots of mistrust between feminine and masculine. So this is something that it's easy for me to see and spot, right? I can see even from like Facebook posts, I can see the energy behind what people want to show and what is hidden behind it. Well, that's not my business to fix those situations, but I'm just sharing how much pain and how much struggle women still have in this area. And we are the generation of women that are meant to change our relationship models, the way we do relationship. Because most of the time we still do relationship from the place of shoulds, what we learn from our environment, our parents, our culture, of how we should do relationship, hoping that maybe one day we receive what we want. But it's not going to work that way, and we're going through this transformation, changing the way we do relationship. We don't want to have the same relationship model as our parents had, our grandparents. We're stepping on our power, doing deeper healing work, and we finally claim what we truly desire in this area. So this is a huge one. Now, the second one is, of course, it's resources, finances, money, right? In the bigger community, I do see the struggle and scarcity still, where women really live in fear and really live in survival mode when it comes to resources and finances, right? And this is another area that is so painful and so like frustrating, and literally it can last for a lifetime, right, if we don't shift something in this area. And the last area, the last big area I see a huge need for support and guidance and healing is a loss of meaning, right? So many women experience depression, a loss of meaning, feeling disconnected from life force, because even if they have both relationship, husband, and they have like certain level of success or big level of success, even they stop feeling connected to these external things. They feel disconnected inside. Like, is this all about life? Is this what life is about? And deep inside they're not fulfilled. Deep inside they're confused. Deep inside they feel, what's the point? So these are three huge areas that are interconnected in life, right? So we can separate them for the sake of rational understanding, right, and talking about them. But when we live our life every day, we deal with all these three areas, all these big challenges every day. So it feels like a lot to deal with, right? Or if some women experience all three of these areas are falling apart and not working, right? So this is a huge challenge to go through alone, especially. And just reading some quotes on Instagram is not going to help, because it's about everyday internal work on all levels: physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. So what I want to point out is when I launched my Tantra course for women, many women reached out to me asking very private, intimate questions, right? In module 1, we have this workbook where you do it on your own, right? And still, for so many women, it's so hard to admit where they are at in terms of being satisfied or even fulfilled with their intimate life, like with the receiving love in their relationship and exploring intimacy, deep level of intimacy, receiving what they truly desire from their partners, right? And many women reached out and they say, well, it's really hard to answer these questions because it's very humbling. Like, I'm suddenly realizing that my intimate life is not even close to what I want it to be, if I'm really honest with myself, right? And this is a huge realization, because you can of course we don't feel comfortable, we don't feel open, safe enough to share it with the entire world, what kind of struggles we have, because it's connected with a feeling of embarrassment, unworthiness, non-belonging, certain shames, like, oh, looks like other people are doing better. Everybody talks about like sex, but what kind of sex people have usually, in their relationship, are really satisfied with that. Like, this is something that is very sensitive topic, right? But when you like do it with your own self, when you start to admit to yourself, okay, no, I'm actually not satisfied. No, I don't enjoy intimacy with my partner. No, this is not what I exactly want. But he's a good guy, let's say. Like, this is all these things start to come up when we face the truth and we ask really bold and radical questions just with ourselves, right? Like, I do have very intimate, deep relationship with my clients because we actually share this information and we work with very, very sensitive, very vulnerable information together and the energy, and we shift that. So it takes courage to do this work with somebody and receive support, but this is the fastest way to move forward, right? When somebody can actually support you and love you in that space and help you to see the blind spots. But that was a huge realization for me, like, okay, so now we finally connect with our true desires of what we want in intimacy, and we say no to what we see. All the role models basically are dead. Like in the society right now, there are only two relationship models that are available on the surface for people, right? It's like traditional, where a woman was a servant to a man, basically patriarchal kind of structure, and all these roles assigned to masculine and feminine and how it should be and what you should do, what you shouldn't do. And feminist as the product of the feminist movement, where women became independent. And there are two choices for independent, successful women: to be by yourself, you know, be single and free, or to kind of give in and squeeze yourself in this narrow box of relationship, trying to receive what you want, but not being able to open up and receive and relax into femininity, because most of successful women actually achieve their success in a very masculine way. So then they bring that into their relationship as well, and that doesn't work, because two masculine energies in the same container, they always create power struggle and fight. So that doesn't work. I have lots of successful women who are my clients, working on the relationship, activating their receiving power, activating their femininity, opening up, shifting the energy, balancing them from inside. You don't need to get rid of your masculine energy, right? It can be useful, but we can learn to dance and allow that masculine to step back when we want a very strong masculine partner, you know, and receive from him. We need to create space for him. So that's another challenge. So only two relationship models are available. If a strong woman is successful and powerful, usually she attracts a weak, disempowered man who is hiding behind her back, basically, and they don't like that, but they never can attract a masculine, powerful man because they don't create space for him. So that's the paradox, right? So now, one of my clients actually says, like, well, you know, Lana, I have a very difficult time to imagine that I can create a sacred union, what I'm talking about in my Tantra course for women, a sacred union, which is an alternative to these two limiting relationship models that we have in the society right now. So my client says, like, well, I don't know anybody who lives this. Like, who lives this way? How is that even possible? I don't know anybody. So that is a really big challenge. And it's like, well, I hear you. I've been there myself. That's why I started this journey of self-discovery and learning and traveling around the world and absorbing and creating and working with women, right? Because I was not satisfied with that either. And I didn't know anybody who lives and builds relationship the way I wanted to do that. So that is a huge realization, and even that is already a great step forward. Now, what can we do to create that faith, to cultivate that faith that it's possible for us, right? What do we need? What kind of conditions we need? We do need certain conditions to make it work for us, right? So the number one thing what I see is not focusing on people who are not living that. This is like crucial. This is super important, because you live in the ocean of the collective, and the collective level, collective consciousness still operates on the very mainstream patriarchal belief system. And most people, whether they want it or not, they still are part of that system. If they think and act and feel this way every day, that that's not possible, nothing else is available, that's what we get, focusing on those problems, being recycled, even if you have an idea that, oh, maybe one day it's possible, if you're constantly being recycled in that energy, speak to other people who have the same problems, you're basically keeping yourself there. And that is where your resistance resides. Everybody's resistance, my resistance used to reside there as well. So that is something to pay attention to. It doesn't mean you have to cut all your friends, all your family off, but you have to protect yourself from the energy that you receive from their belief system, right? And when you create that boundaries, like, okay, you can live this way, but that is not for me. And I am really drawing this line of separation, that I'm not part of that. And I'm focusing on my desires, and focusing on creating that sacred union. I'm raising my standards, and this is exactly what I want. I'm not even open to see men who are not open to explore Tantra and sacred union and this different level of relationship. Something that is focused on the truth, real authentic connection, and mutual growth, growing together, right? So you create it for yourself, and you only focus on what you create. You don't look back at those people who live this way. And you do it every single day. That's the way to go. This is number one thing. And the second thing, to really release that resistance in your life, not in your imagination or night dreams, in your everyday life, is to constantly check in with yourself at all levels: physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual, and scan your body sensations, scan your feelings, scan your thoughts, scan your connection, soul connection. Is your volume of your soul, is it all even on? Do you even listen the whisper of your soul, like your intuition, what you receive from the universe, the guidance? Do you have that faith that if you aligned at first three levels, physical, emotional, and mental, the spiritual force will come into your life like avalanche and bring you forward with that? Do you believe in that? You need to check in with yourself every day. Usually it's a great idea to do it in the morning and then in the evening, but even when you're in the work and have all this stress going on, every hour you can ask yourself that question: am I resisting? Am I in alignment with my truth and my desires? Am I focusing and thinking that way? Am I feeling that way? Because if you don't check in consciously, what happens, your subconscious drags you back into your old environment, and you are probably still in your old environment, right? And your subconscious mind can't reject anything. It just tells you what to feel, it tells you what to think, it tells you how to react, and that is how you're being trapped in the same cycle over and over again. And number three, pay attention to what is going on in the world. Find women who already live it. It's not true that nobody lives it. There are women who live, in a sacred union, having very deep, intimate relationship with their partners, and focus on the truth and growth together. There are women who, are successful and make money in the feminine way. It doesn't need to be that old masculine pushing hard, like forcing yourself. It doesn't need to be this way. And also there are women who live their soul purpose, and also in the feminine way, like allowing themselves to claim their power and say, I charge for my services a lot of money because I'm doing the work of lifetimes, and I own that. If somebody is not ready to take a journey with me, and invest in themselves on many levels, not just money, but also do the work, then those people are not my ideal clients. They are not ready to take this journey, or maybe I'm not the right person for them. And just owning that, no matter what, no matter what appearances are, no matter what circumstances are, you just like stand there strongly and keep moving forward. So these are 3 tips for you of how to remove resistance from your body. And by the way, by relaxing your physical body, breathing and moving in a feminine, free way, you actually open up to receive. You open up to allowing, just shifting your physiological state, shifting your physical sensations as well. So scan it every day, many times a day, maybe once each hour, and ask yourself, am I resisting or am I allowing my desires to come in? This is real work. It's not a fairy tale, but it requires work and focus and priority. It has to be a priority because you are your priority, right? So this is what I wanted to share with you today. Please make comments, reach out privately, ask questions. I'm here for you and would like to support you to release your resistance so you can live in fulfilled way as a woman.